Welcome to Fable and Fact. Today, we're diving into one of the hottest topics on the global stage, Bangladesh. Have you ever wondered how a country that's over 80% fertile land and blanketed in lush green fields can still face some of the toughest economic challenges on Earth? Nestled on the Bay of Bengal, Bangladesh stretches over approximately 148,460 square kilometers of predominantly flat floodplain terrain, making it a paradise for rice cultivation and other crops. Yet despite this natural abundance, Bangladesh is home to roughly 175.7 million people, placing it among the world's most populous nations and bursting at an astonishing density of about 1,333 souls per square kilometer. Nowhere is this density more dramatic than in Dhaka, the nation's buzzing capital. Imagine more than 21 million people squeezed into a metro area scarcely larger than 300 square kilometers. That's like stacking the population of Chicago into a footprint barely bigger than San Francisco's. With traffic gridlocks ranking Dhaka as the fifth worst in the world, daily commutes often crawl at a pedestrian pace. Between jam-packed streets clotted with buses, rickshaws, and CNG three-wheelers, and just 60 functioning traffic lights that few heed, moving an inch forward can feel like an epic feat in itself. One of the brightest threads in Bangladesh's economic tapestry is its garment industry. Today, ready-made garments account for roughly 80% of the country's $55 billion in annual exports, making Bangladesh the world's second-largest apparel exporter behind China. Over 5 million Bangladeshis, more than 80% of them women, work in thousands of factories that stretch across the country, sewing fast fashion for global brands at breakneck speed and astonishing scale. Yet behind the humming sewing machines lie stories of overwork, safety lapses, and long-fought battles for fair wages. After the devastating Rana Plaza collapse in 2013, which claimed over 1,100 lives, both local and international groups pressured governments and brands to improve building codes and labor standards. Progress has been made, but countless workers still put in grueling 12 to 14-hour shifts for wages that barely cover rent and rice. What happens when millions pack onto trains all at once? Every January, Dhaka's outskirts transform into the scene for Bishwa Ijtima, the second largest Muslim congregation on earth after Arba'in in Iraq. Over 2 phases, around 4 million pilgrims descend on Tongi's riverbank tents, many riding in conditions that defy imagination, clinging to rooftops and hanging off carriage sides to get home. Volunteers and the military marshal the ritual prayer camps, while the railways, over a century old, strain to shuttle devout families back to far-flung villages. It's a visual spectacle, but also a stark reminder of the gaps in infrastructure and safety nets. If you think borders are simple lines on a map, Bangladesh will surprise you. Until 2015, dozens of tiny exclaves, some so small you'd miss them without a magnifying glass, were scattered like puzzle pieces inside neighboring India. With the land boundary agreement that year, 111 Indian enclaves were handed over to Bangladesh and 51 Bangladeshi enclaves to India, finally resolving a centuries-old quirk and easing the daily lives of enclave residents who once braved visa checks to visit the next village. Politically, Bangladesh has seen remarkable twists. Since its independence in 1971, power has often alternated between 2 formidable women, Sheikh Hasina and Khaleda Zia, both of whom served multiple terms as prime minister. Yet despite female leadership at the top, the Global Gender Gap Index still ranks Bangladesh 99 out of 146 countries, highlighting persistent challenges in women's economic and political participation. And let's not forget the environmental roller coaster. Cyclones, flooding, and rising seas threaten over a quarter of the land, lying just 5 meters above sea level. As climate change accelerates, Bangladesh's low-lying delta will test the resilience of communities, pushing them to adapt or relocate, and reminding the world that its fate is intertwined with global environmental health. And just west of Dhaka, along the banks of the mighty Padma River, lies Dauladia, Bangladesh's largest brothel village and one of the biggest in the world. Officially one of just 20 licensed brothels nationwide, it opened around 1988 but had operated informally for decades. Today, estimates place between 1,300 and 2,000 sex workers in Dauladia, collectively serving more than 3,000 clients every single day. Despite prostitution being legal only for women aged 18 or older, the average age of new arrivals here is shockingly just 14, with some girls as young as 10 trafficked into the trade for as little as $250 before being bound to so-called madams. Once inside, many are forced to take cattle-fattening drugs like Ventolin or Orodexon, substances never intended for humans, risking serious long-term health complications. In 2014, over 2,000 women and girls were abruptly evicted by ruling party activists, their homes demolished and futures thrown into chaos. When COVID-19 swept the nation in 2020, Daulatia was ordered closed, pushing sex workers to plead for emergency relief just to eat. And when they did win reopening, the risks only multiplied. Stigma cuts deep. Until a 2015 reform, residents literally bore Daulatia brothel on their national ID cards, blocking access to schools, hospitals, and bank accounts. Today, local NGOs and human rights groups are working to rebuild demolished wards, provide legal aid, and offer medical and psychological support, each step a small beacon of hope in a place too many would rather forget. So here we are, a nation of green fields and gray factories, of sprawling slums and soaring skyscrapers, of spiritual festivals that draw millions and border oddities that defy maps. Bangladesh stands at a crossroads between the challenges of high density, poverty, and climate risk, and the triumphs of economic growth, social progress, and cultural vibrancy. Its story is one of resilience of people who, against every odd, keep sewing, stitching, praying, and innovating. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Bangladesh, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an episode of Fable and Fact.